In LA County, the health and financial impacts of this pandemic have been devastating, and the burden is being placed on those without a safety net: seniors, the undocumented, low-income people of color. Hundreds of thousands have lost income and are behind on rent. Eviction protections, while crucial, are only delaying a massive rent debt crisis, and rental assistance programs have barely made a dent. Thousands of tenants will be facing eviction once state protections expire on January 31st. Many homeowners and small landlords are also struggling to pay their mortgages, making them vulnerable to foreclosure or bankruptcy and creating the conditions for corporate landlords to buy up our neighborhoods and continue displacing tenants. We've already lost over 7,500 people in LA County to the COVID-19 virus, and housing insecurity is putting thousands more at risk. Rent cancellation, along with targeted assistance for low-income homeowners and landlords, is the only just and scaled policy solution that upholds public health and shifts the rent debt burden away from tenants, while also maintaining housing stability and stopping a wealth transfer to corporations. So what do we mean when we say cancel rent? Yes, we do mean the suspension of all existing rent debt and future rent obligations. Tenants should not be held responsible for rent debt owed due to COVID-related income loss, and if our best bet for combating this virus is to shelter in place, then future rent obligations should be canceled to remove financial pressures that are forcing people to leave their home and or putting them at risk of eviction for non-payment. All existing rent debt and all future rent obligations should be suspended until our county has reached the minimum COVID-19 risk tier under the governor's criteria, with a free vaccine widely available, and until there has been substantial economic recovery. All tenants who are experiencing financial hardship due to COVID-19 should be eligible, regardless of immigration status. The city and county must implement strong protections for tenants whose rent has been canceled. Landlords shouldn't be able to evict tenants for having their rent canceled, and there should be significant penalties for harassment. What do we mean when we say cancel mortgages? Yes, we also think homeowners experiencing hardship should have their mortgage payments canceled. There is a lot that the county and city can do to support mortgage cancellation and relief right now. For example, the city and county do a lot of business with banks and have a lot of power as consumers. They can put pressure on banks by choosing to only do business with those who provide mortgage forgiveness. As some vulnerable homeowners navigate their options, there will be those who try to take advantage of them. The county and city can also penalize predatory mortgage lending and bad servicing practices to protect homeowners from bad deals. The county and city can also provide local funding for homeowner counseling to help homeowners negotiate with the banks and make sure they are set up for long-term stability. And county and city officials should be working with advocates to put pressure on state and federal governments to provide mortgage cancellation and relief. We understand that small landlords are also struggling and may be at risk of losing their properties, which also puts tenants at risk of displacement. A local fund should be established to provide financial relief to certain qualifying landlords to mitigate the economic impact of rent cancellation and ensure housing stability. This fund should support small landlords and nonprofit housing providers who can demonstrate financial hardship due to rent cancellation, who need assistance to prevent losing the property and or need assistance to keep up with maintenance and operations. This fund is not meant to recover profits, and large corporate landlords should not be eligible. Landlords can receive as much as they need to keep up with payment and keep the building habitable, but not to exceed the amount of rent cancellation and not double dip with other relief funds. Landlords should only receive funds if tenant protection and habitability standards are met. Good landlords without a history of tenant harassment or habitability issues should be prioritized for relief. Landlords who violate these conditions should receive penalties and should reimburse the funds. Tenants, homeowners, and advocates have worked together for months to develop this proposal because we know housing is health, and we need action from our elected officials to save lives by keeping people housed. The city and county have the power to do this today. Let's make sure they get it done. To learn more about this policy proposal and to take action in support of canceling rent and mortgages in LA, visit healthyla.org.